This is a video on the example in the book, LuxBoat from chapter 2. And in this example, I'm going to walk through almost the same numbers. I'm going to change our confidence level to align with the homework assignment to a 95% confidence. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go over here to Excel. And here we have each boat number. We have a production complete date and time. And I combine those into a single column. I calculate an inter-throughput time by simply taking the difference between the completions. Okay, so the difference between boat 5 and 6 here, and because it's an Excel value, I'm going to multiply that by 24. That gives us 29.5 hours. There is one thing to note here. If you do the calculations, the difference between boat 2 and 3 is actually 11.5. But in the book, it says 35.5. So I've changed that manually in my spreadsheet just to be consistent here with the book. But if you find a difference in your own calculations, that's because there is. It should be 11.5 instead of 35.5. So we have the inter-throughput times, and we're going to look at, here's that correlation number, right? This the lag correlation that it talks about in terms of identifying independence, right? How independent are these outputs? We find out that they are not completely independent. But we have 29 boats in 47 days. That gives us a throughput of 0.617 boats days, right? One boat per 0.61 days. And so to ship the 25 total boats, including what is in work and the new order, it's going to estimate it to be 40 and a half days. The sales guy comes back to Bob calls Joseph. Joseph is the production manager here, and Bob is the vice president of marketing. And Bob tells Joseph, "Hey, can't we get some kind of 90% sure number on our delivery?" So he goes back, and Joseph goes back with this 90% confidence and does the following calculations. Why don't I go ahead and walk through here what the book is telling, and then we'll come back and change the confidence to 95% confident. So the original estimate is simply 40 and a half days, and that comes from taking the 25 boats, and the 25 boats comes over here from the text, right? The order is going to be ready to ship when 25 boats are completed. So you take the 25 divided by the throughput for the company. What is the throughput? It is 0.617. So we take that 25, we divide by the 0.617021. That gives us 40 and a half days. But we don't have the confidence in this number yet. That's just purely an average number, just like the book talks about. 40 and a half days. Bob says, "Hey, I want to promise them 90%. Can we be 90% sure that their order is going to be on or before that date?" So that's what Bob is looking for. So Joe goes back and does some more calculations. We have a low inter-throughput time. We have our high inter-throughput time. And what he's looking at here is the variance, right? So the lowest inter-throughput time was 29 and a half. The highest was 51. That's a pretty good variance. Overall, the average inter-throughput time is about 39 hours. So now we're going to do some statistics here to identify what is a 90% confidence level, or what is our delivery date with a 90% surety. Is that a word? 90% sure, which I'm sure is not completely accurate from a statistics perspective, but we're going to call it a 90% confidence that we can ship these 25 boats at this particular date. So we're going to set up an equation here. We have our B is 25 boats. Let me scroll down here to get to the analytics page of the book. So the B is 25 boats. We have a X bar for one boat of 38.9 hours. This is the average inter-throughput time. Our variance is 37.61. And I'm doing a little rounding here. You'll see the rounding function that I'm using throughout this video and in other videos. And that is to agree with the book. So in order to get the same numbers that the book uses, I've had to round my numbers a little bit just so that it comes out really close to the book. I want these Excel spreadsheets to be similar to the book. And a correlation here, this is our 0.382 that we've done before, our lag -1 correlation. Then we do, with these inputs, we can make the following calculations. So the average for 25 boats is 972 hours. The variance is going to be calculated with this, which is using here these formulas straight from the book. Over on the left, I'm just putting these formulas into Excel. So we have a standard deviation for the 25 boats of 45.86 hours. This ensures a due date that includes a probability of 90% for those 25 boats. And the final due date is going to be this. So we have a z-score here. A z-score at 90% is 1.28. And we incorporate that z-score into our calculations with a norm.end function. And that's going to give us 1,031.2 hours. And that comes out to 42.97 days. So if the original was 4.5 days as the average, when we include a 90% confidence, that gets us to 42.97, about 43 days with a 90% confidence level. What that means is that 3 extra days, or 2.5 rather, from 40.5 to 43 days is accounting for this inter-throughput variation. That variability is included in this number 43 days to the degree of a 90% confidence level. Now the only other thing we need to do here for the homework is change this to 95%. So if we change this to a 95% confidence level, does that change our inter-throughput times? No, because our inter-throughput times are still here in column E. Does it change our correlation? No, because those still refer to the same inter-throughput times. Does it change the number of boats? No, we're still talking about 25 boats. It doesn't change the averages. It doesn't change the variance. It's going to change the z-score. So the z-score is the only thing that's changed when we change that confidence level. When we change the z-score, it's going to change our total days. It's actually going to increase it to 43.66 days, which means we can be 95% sure. We have a 95% confidence level that we're going to be able to ship these 25 boats. We're going to be able to produce 25 boats in just over 43.5 days. And that's the number that Joseph is going to tell Bob, and Bob's going to tell the customer if they wanted a 95% confidence. The book only goes to 90%. But the purpose of the homework here is to work through these numbers and to see how variability is incorporated into the inter-throughput times for this example.